fine. Look at how they're all shining white now. Oh, good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening and also to have some of my students here with you. In the agenda, it says 5th grade band because these are members of the 5th grade band. But I just wanted to have the opportunity to talk to you about how starting band in 4th grade has, in my opinion, in 1 year drastically helped our music department. And so when Dr. Mercer came to me and said, hey, would you like to share this information? I said, yes. So this is my way to say thank you for allowing us to do 4th grade band. So some quick statistics, and then I'll have them introduce themselves and just kind of talk about their experience. Last year was the first year that we formally had 4th grade band in both elementary schools, and I had 41 students. I say formally because 7 years ago, I think it was, it happened to be, my son was in 4th grade who just graduated last year. I did have an opportunity to teach instruments to the students at EJA that year, but it just was a 1 year thing, and then it wasn't able to fit into the schedule anymore, so I wasn't able to do it anymore. So last year was our first year, and I had 41 students taking lessons between EJA and Coxsackie Elementary. This year, I have 34 students, so it's a few less, but as we all know, there's declining enrollment. So some of that numbers have to do with smaller class sizes, not necessarily a lack of interest. This year, in my 5th grade band, I have 36 students. So I only lost 5 students in transition, which isn't too bad because we always have the students who discover that an instrument isn't for them, and that's okay, because we all know that music and instruments isn't for everybody. Some other statistics is with being able to start in 4th grade last year, this year, I was able to send 2 5th graders, which we have not been able to do before, to be part of our Greene County, All-County Elementary Band. This year also, I am able to send 8 5th graders to our NYSSMA solo and ensemble that's taking place this weekend. Before, I would never be able to do that because, as you are probably well aware, many of you who may have been to concerts and had students, we had for a long time and so on and so forth. But this year, with this being my first 4th grade into 5th grade, they're gonna just quickly kind of talk about what kind of music they play and just what their experience is. Just really quickly, I also wanted to mention that last year, just kind of something to think about moving forward. Last year, I taught lessons 1 day a week. They were only 20-minute lessons, and they did happen to be during the school day. This year, we're teaching 1 lesson every 6 days. We're on the 6-day rotation, so I'm able to go every other day to both buildings. The only disadvantage that has been expressed to me, and is a little bit of a disadvantage, is I have lessons before school hours and during school hours, which kind of makes it a little bit difficult for some families. We made it work this year, but it's difficult for me. Sometimes it's difficult on the schools when I might be absent, so I don't have an opportunity to tell the kids ahead of time that I'm not coming, so then I have to provide supervision for the students. So just kind of moving forward, we're personally, at my music department, would like to be able to get lessons for all students back during the elementary school day. It's during my schedule, but not necessarily within the elementary schedule. So, Silas, this is Silas Cameron. Tell them what instrument you play.
I play trumpet, and I switched from percussion to trumpet, and I really like it.
Piper, you can beat what you have. It's okay. Not everybody's on the fly.
I think other 4th and next 5th graders should get a chance to play an instrument because they should get the same chance I got when I was in 4th grade. Also, we have to learn so many things. It's nice to learn something that's fun. In addition, band teaches us how to work together, which is important. Please keep band in 4th and 5th grade. Thank you.
Avery Smith. You can tell what you play.
So I played saxophone in 4th grade and I transitioned to a much quieter instrument, which is flute, and I liked it because for me it was a little bit big, the saxophone for me, and it was really heavy, and I also just wanted to try out a new flute, and I also had like time because I was in 4th grade, so I had to make up like a decision that I wanted. Thank you.
This is Amelia. Another one you're going to get to hear a trend.
I used to play the flute and then I switched over to the clarinet, and I like the clarinet more than the flute because it's lower pitch.
And Nathaniel.
Good evening. My name is Nathaniel Kremers, and I play the trombone. I enjoyed starting band in 4th grade because it gave me an opportunity to start with the basics earlier so that I can get onto more advanced songs in 5th grade, such as African Folk Trilogy and Sneaky Sneaky. It also gave me a higher chance of getting into All County to play advanced songs such as Armory and Ready to Castle. So I think it was a good idea to let students start 4th grader, start band in 4th grade. Thank you.
And as you heard, Nathaniel was one of the 2 5th graders that was able to participate in our elementary All County band. So with that, I didn't really mention it because it's a little difficult for you to imagine, but I would like to invite you to our upcoming concert, May 22nd, 7 o'clock, and just be able to hear the difference. I have, honestly, my 5th graders for their spring concert are playing songs where my 6th grade was playing music last year. And I just like to challenge the kids, and also a special tribute this year that I'm doing because we are 2 days before our Memorial Day break. The 6th grade is doing a kind of a military tribute, so we're playing some service tunes and patriotic songs and taking the opportunity to thank our veterans and remember our veterans. So thank you for this opportunity.
First, we want to thank you all for coming. It's not easy to come, at night when you could be watching TV or practicing your instrument. That's right. Maybe changing to another instrument. That's really interesting to me. So you have that kind of flexibility.
And this year, as you can see, 3 out of all of them, they switched. And for them, though, it's a big challenge because the other kids have already had 1 year underneath them, but they've all totally stepped to the challenge and they're able to keep up. I know Avery's already making a face, but she's getting there. She's working really, really hard. She's came a really long way, even a lot further than any of my other students who would normally have started in 5th grade.
That's great. It's great to hear. Bart?
So for me, I love the fact that music is a creative process. It's all about experimentation, and the fact that you can try an instrument and then have the ability to go to another instrument and find one you like, I think is very rewarding. So my question is, in order to get instruments in kids' hands, does it come with a cost or no cost?
So what we do is we first put it out to the parents that they have the opportunity to rent an instrument. We currently work with John Peel. And then if families are not able on their own to rent an instrument, we are slowly building an instrument inventory, that's the word I'm looking for, in our room. We actually recently were able to purchase 8 or 9, I can't remember off the top of my head, new instruments between middle school and high school with a nice grant that we had. So we got two brand new clarinets, 2 new trumpets, 2 new saxophones, 2 new tenor saxophones, a new trombone, and a new French horn. We've talked about this and haven't formally actually got it under our belt. I'll stop there. I don't want to say something. I'm the one that kind of drives a lot of things in, just because I'm so busy, I haven't been able to get it going. But we really want to. We talked about getting a formal instrument drive going. And I know the cafe has reached out to us that they would most likely be willing to support us in paying for even just having them cleaned and things like that. So right now, if your question is, has anybody ever been turned away, the answer is no. I've been able to somehow put an instrument in their hand. If it's not the instrument they want, there's still an instrument there.
What is the most popular instrument that you find?
What is the most popular instrument? Trumpet's pretty popular.
Trumpet and flute.
Flute, clarinet's pretty popular.
Okay.
We're trying to push our low brass. That's why we put Nathaniel out there and tell him how great that the trombone is. Our low brass is a little new, but yes.
Well, this is a little like deja vu, because just a year ago, we did talk about this, like what you're talking about. I know it's a time thing, you know, trying to get that going, but I remember saying, I know I have a clarinet in my back room that somebody could have, and probably anybody who has had kids who have instruments and didn't go on to be rock stars or concert stars.
Over the years, we've had a few donated to us. The issue is most of them are playable,
Yeah,
but still we'd like to be able to send them out and make sure that they have good pads and make sure that they're not leaking anywhere.
condition them, right?
Condition them,
Yeah.
exactly. Which has been a slow process.
Sure.
We had a whole bunch done, again, through the same grant that we were able to purchase instruments earlier. But now it's kind of like we're back to square one because that money has been utilized. So now we're receiving the instruments and just figuring out ways to.
Well,
And I need to make a little more time for things. But that's okay, it's almost the end of the year and summer's coming. I can get on that.
Keep up the good work.
yeah, thank you very much for what you do, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming and talking with us, everybody,
Thank
and
you.
sharing.
Just a few updates tonight, and some of you commented on there. This week we were fortunate to host visitors from about 8 different states, almost 50 visitors, 48, to come and see what was going on here and how Coxsackie-Athens is kind of redefining how students are prepared for post-secondary life in that regard. We had about 21 teachers that opened up their doors for visits and/or participated in conversations throughout the day on a whole variety of subjects. For that, we had about 15 students also actively participate as either guides or ambassadors, or we're also on panels discussed as well. So there's a shout out to them. And just again, some of the places we went, so to speak, we visited our middle school agriculture and tech programs and art, elementary kindergartens, libraries, art, again, entrepreneurship class in the high school, Department 254, Shelley had mentioned. We had some seniors talk about their experiences here as seniors up in the senior lounge. And the teachers talked about the flex classroom. We had some students talk about their experiences with that. And that was very well received from our visitors. Our students from the cash bar spoke about our tech services department, how they helped that out. Ms. Fitzgerald highlighted the fitness center. Again, the idea of the whole child and such. So Raimondo discussed the interior design class, and it's been before and after, so to speak, of that process. We demonstrated spring math program in the middle school, in an elementary STEM, and middle school English for some of the places we stopped along the way. So it was a good mix of K-12 that they were able to see, which is, being on this campus, you can manage that. So again, at your table, I put there is just some of the comments, feedback I received, from some of the visitors, and you kind of, go through that. And I'll share these out with the individual teachers in a couple of days as we get some more in here. But again, it's really like, everything they saw was great. you know, and a lot of good feedback back on everything they saw throughout the day. So again, just a shout out to all of our teachers and staff and custodians who had things set up for us, and everybody who helped make it a successful day. And days, you know, begin to showcase what we're going on. We took a lot of weight too, because we have conversations, and you know, we're learning just as much as them, even though we're the ones hosting in that regard. This also was, our site was one day, and then the next day we visited Tech Valley High School up in Albany and toured that building and talked about project-based learning and the I-turn that they do up there. They kind of stop instruction, but main instruction, kids work on projects with community partners and organizations. They do one of those each year for 4 years. Something we've had conversations about here, but never really got rolling yet down here in that regard. So then we went over to the E-Tech building, which is a new facility. It's technically on the Harriman campus, but it's part of SUNY Albany. It houses the New York State Weather Bureau, I guess is what it is. So you use your weather anything, it's come from there for the most part. And just how they have monitors across the state that keeps you, so whether you're here or up and hiking in the Adirondacks or wherever, you'll know what the weather is in that regard. That's kind of cool to see all that. BOCES has a New Visions cybersecurity program up there. We had to get a student last year attend, but not anybody on that this year. So kids are being exposed to all the fields that are within, you might consider like the Homeland Security branch of our government and such like that. So they were able to present some of the projects they were doing to students. So we gave us tours some of the other parts of the building, which has a lot of unique features to it. That kind of can be a model for future construction projects and such. So it was a packed couple days for everyone, and everybody made it home safe, so it's good. So again, kudos everybody, and thank you for allowing us to host this event. Speaking of showcase, May 9th is our showcase for student success here at Coxsackie-Athens. And so from 5 to 6 p.m., our elementary schools will be opened up for parents to come in and see projects that their kids have been working on throughout the year. And then from 6 to 7, the middle school and high school, the same thing, will be opened up. And just a reminder too, that part of this will be at 7 o'clock, the middle school will have a play, something new, first time, right?
Yes, yes.
Yep, so there'll be a play this year by the middle school drama club. That'll go for about
Lucille
7.
Mozilla.
What's that?
It's Lucille
Oh,
Mozilla.
Lucille, okay. It's another night out for Lucille.
Yeah.
So you know, they'll be excited to watch that in the auditorium to kind of conclude the night. So everybody's invited to attend and celebrate with our kids all the hard work and things they've been working at throughout the school year. Voting. Just again, reminder, this kind of came up last year, I think, or even maybe in December for the vote. And Julie in our office, Applegate, worked with our companies that we do our voting through. And so for this election budget vote in May, you will be able to vote at either polling location. Doesn't matter where you live. Before, if you lived in Athens, you're supposed to vote at DJ Arthur. If you live in Coxsackie, you're supposed to vote at Coxsackie. Everybody asks, well, where's the line, right? Because I might live in Earlton, my kid goes to DJ Arthur, but where do I go to vote? Doesn't matter now. You go to either spot for that. So that'll be all set up. So that'll hopefully make it more convenient for people to get out and vote, especially if there's any athletic contest that night. They're up here already. If they're living in Athens, they can stop over here to vote if they so choose. So let's get that word out. We'll publicize that as well in our newsletter when those come out. And everything. Again, the vote is May 21st from 1 to 9 p.m. at either Coxsackie Elementary or DJ Arthur Elementary. Also, just a reminder, board elections, petitions are due this Monday, the 22nd at 5 p.m. Finally, digital citizenship. Just wanted to provide a little bit of an update on this. And again, a topic that is what it is. You know, we've always had citizenship in schools, right? Going back to the days of that actually being a class, civics, back in the day. Now it's just on digital platforms, and it happens a lot faster in that regard. And so one of the things we are seeing trending across the country, including in the state, is where kids are being targets. We've known they've already been targets like media and advertising, but now a more violent type of targeting It's referred to as sextortion, sorry, I pronounced that, where people get online and it's like a form of bullying, where they will keep attacking kids. They often will prey on kids who might be just having their, adolescent types of issues and things like that. And we've seen the unfortunate results where kids have committed suicide because of this. Across the state, with some cases of that across New York in recent years for that. So these online predators find them and wherever in the dark spaces of online places and are doing this. And along with that, we have kids who, the sexting and things like that, where you send images of yourself, naked images of yourself, or share with others, which is against the law, no matter how old you are, not to do that. And so we're putting together some education for students, developmentally appropriate, staff, and then also for our families as well. I think a lot of our parents may not understand, unfortunately, how prevalent that is out there and how easily it can happen for them. There's some very heart-wrenching stories of parents who just had no idea their kids were getting sucked into this world, if you will, and just getting emotionally beat up over and over again until they take their lives. This is the end result oftentimes. So we're going to put some stuff together. We hopefully get some things rolling this spring, and then sustain this throughout the year and find a place where we can fit into our curriculum, in the schools, but also have this kind of an annual update to our parents as well. So.
Randy, do you think you'll have some outside staff coming in to discuss that?
Yes. So I know we're reaching out to the Center for Exploited Children. I don't know if I got that right. State Police as well, are two organizations that Emily Tajin is working with some of that education for us.
So there'll be something here at night that people would attend? Is that what you're?
Probably yes, or do it virtually. It's hard to get people out.
Yep.
So
Mrs. Mazzillo would probably.
Yeah, she's a good crowd.
You're everywhere.
But also to maybe create some videos or PSA stuff we can push out as well, so people can at least see that they're home for that, and utilize our kids to send that message. As a quick sidebar, some of our kids right now are making a video on the negative effects of vaping. They're putting together like some PSAs for that, so we'll have that. You'll probably see that on our social media accounts soon for that. So, any other questions?
All right, I just wanted to take a moment tonight to just get to our conclusion from all of our pilots and let you know what next steps are now that we've selected a program. So I just wanted to start with a reminder of where we began this process, because it's been a little bit of a lengthy process. So it started back in the spring of 2021 with our ELA panel, which was a convening of teachers. In that panel, we discussed what we had in place currently for curriculum and what concerns that staff had about our curriculum. A lot of conversation around the science of reading, and then our fast bridge analysis had been showing that we have some phonics issues. So from there, we created a survey for all staff to take about their feelings of the current state, because the ELA panel anybody could have joined it, but it had a small representation. We wanted to make sure everybody had a chance to talk about their feelings on our curriculum. So then, based on those survey results from all of our teachers, the ELA panel decided to explore new curriculum. So we started in the fall of 21. The people on the ELA panel went around to the various neighboring schools to see what programs they were using, if they were happy with them, if they were unhappy with them, so that we could start taking a look at what we might want to have teachers pilot. So a concern was expressed the last time that we had selected a program, we had only piloted the Lucy Hawkins units of writing, reading, and phonics. So one of the conversations we had was making sure that teachers would have the opportunity to pilot more than one program, so they could really see if the program was going to work for Coxsackie-Athens or not. Because sometimes you can get a great salesperson and really think a program is terrific, but in reality it doesn't work quite the way the salesperson talks about it. So our decision was to do a program fair. So we narrowed down a couple of programs that we just heard from neighboring school districts that they did not like and were moving away from to begin with. And then we brought all that material to the fair. There were materials in digital form, there were also hard copies. We opted not to have salespeople because we wanted teachers to have an opportunity to look through the materials on their own. At the conclusion of that fair, certain people told administration if they wanted to pilot a program. Those who were not piloting would continue with the units of study, but those who decided to pilot, unless it was phonics, in which case if they were piloting phonics, they would continue to use the units of study for reading and writing. So pilot year 1, so that was 22-23, we had people who fell in the following 3 groups in terms of piloting. During this year, staff were encouraged to visit rooms that were participating in a pilot. There were also monthly PLP meetings where the people doing a particular program would get together and talk about the pros, the cons, help each other out in terms of implementation. Staff were also instructed to fill out an ELA standards checklist to determine if the program that they were using was covering all the standards. We did that with the units of study as well, even though we had been implementing them for a few years. The teachers presented on their pilots to all of you back in October of that year, of 2022. And then in March, the data coordinator took our FastBridge data, created some comparison information for each of the programs, and the staff who were piloting presented both that data and just their thoughts in general on the program that they were piloting, if it was going well or if it was not going well. At the end of that first year, a request was made by the teachers to continue up the pilot program for 1 more year to give them a little bit more time to delve into the information. There's also a concern expressed, no one wanted to look at the new units of study because Lucy was revamped a little bit to try and follow better along with the science of reading. The staff did not want to look at the Lucy Calkins, so the concern was really the only comprehensive program we had looked at was CKLA. So they wanted to pilot Benchmark, which is another comprehensive program, so that they could look at both of those. So there were 3 different groups that people fell into this year. Again, the staff were encouraged to visit rooms that were piloting. We also continued to have the monthly meetings during PLP, and they continue to work on the ELA standards checklist. And that brings us to our selection process, so our final determination. So we had 1-hour meetings. It was PLP plus 20 minutes. I have to say thank you to Karen and Jim for covering staff for the first 20 minutes of the school day, which I'm sure was not easy, so we appreciated that. And Freya, since she's here, also did cover her people to be able to come down and meet during the elementary PLP time. So the first meeting was, why do we need a program and how are we going to select it? We looked at a variety of different rubrics that other districts had used. We came up with the idea to merge 2 rubrics. They liked some elements of one and most of the other one, but they wanted a little bit of a combination. The next meeting was on March 12th, so that was the data coordinator came to present the graphs that he created from FastBridge to show how the different programs were working. We also went over, I had combined the 2 rubrics at that point, so we went over the rubric to see what the teachers thought on that. One of the conversations there, we had originally removed the special education students because we thought it would be a better apples to apples comparison, but the teachers requested that we share the information out in 2 different ways, without the special education students in it, and then with them in it. Then we met on March 26th, so that additional data on the special education students was given. Staff were given an opportunity to do 1 last sales pitch. If you love your program and you desperately want everybody to pick it, tell them what's so great about it. Staff had time to review the data in general, the ELA standards checklist. We reviewed the process for filling out the rubric, and then staff began filling out the rubrics at that meeting, but they were given till the end of the day of Friday of that week to fill out the rubric. We told them if they felt they couldn't answer a question, they were able to skip a question. That was something that was brought up. So all that happened right before vacation. Over vacation, we shared out what all the results from the survey were. I spent some time over vacation creating some charts to kind of pull the information together in terms of a K2 grouping, 3 through 6 grouping, and then we were very fortunate, we had people who had piloted both benchmark and CKLA, so they were able to do comparisons. So I also took the people who had piloted both so we could see what answers they gave on the survey if one seemed to be going better than the other one. Once we looked at all of that, I forget to flip it. So once we looked through all of that, we took a vote. Mr. Martino was our box holder. He held the box. The teachers, it was a secret ballot. So they voted and Miss Miller tallied. And then we asked for who was interested in volunteering to be on the PD planning committee. And now the important piece. So our winner was Benchmark Advanced. It was a close vote. Both programs had a lot of wonderful strengths to it, but one narrowly led the other one. So we will be moving forward with Benchmark Advanced. Our next steps, so we need to order the material. We're trying to see them as quickly as possible, but definitely before the end of the school year. We had our first meeting of the PD planning volunteers. And we drafted a possible plan for rollout, which really includes, so Benchmark starts off with an implementation 1 training, which is a full day training. So we're looking to try and do that at some point in June. So we're working back and forth with Benchmark to see what dates they have available versus what we have available. We did have a nice conversation about trainings over the summer. As you guys know, I've mentioned it before, sometimes it's hard to get everybody available at the same time over the summer. And one of the things the PD group talked about was if the whole grade level couldn't meet, they were uncomfortable having just like a smaller amount, because I think sometimes then that creates unbalanced information. So how do we get it out early enough that people can really, the whole grade level participate in that if they're going to do something over the summer. Another piece to that, and I said that I would bring it to the superintendent and the board, is the idea of possibly having an extra planning day on September 5th. So when the kids start having, the elementary kids start 1 day later to give them a chance to go through the materials a little bit more. I said I would ask, and we'd have to look at, we have lots of stuff that comes on those conference days, but that could be something we could chat about. Our next meeting is going to be May 3rd, so we'll continue to have those conversations about the implementation. I just added this slide in just to let you know, so this is Benchmark suggestions. So they have an implementation 1 training, which they say all teachers should have, and then they can play around in the material. They like having it in June so teachers can look at it over the summer. They would suggest that in August we do a leadership team training that would have principals, administrators, and any interested board members. And this helps everyone kind of know what's in the program, and it helps us be able to help the teachers. And then in October, there's an implementation 2. It doesn't have to be October, but that is when we have a conference day, if this is the plan we choose to go with. Once people have done a little bit in Benchmark, this implementation 2 then helps support them to go further. And that's a half-day training. And then from there, they have all sorts of customizable PDs. So they have things for small group instruction, they have things for writing, they have things specifically for phonics. So then they have a survey that they send out to see what other options staff might be interested in. Then they also, inside the Benchmark universe, which is the digital part of Benchmark, there are modules. So those modules are designed for people to kind of work through on their own pace. So we talked a little bit about how we could look through those modules and maybe put those in something that we do through a PLP. And then the most exciting piece to me then at the end is we actually had Greenville come check out our kindergarten and our 2nd grade and their implementation of Benchmark, because Greenville's thinking about piloting Benchmark in Catskill. East Greenbush is already piloting Benchmark. Ichabod Crane has already adopted Benchmark in grades 4 through 6. And the importance of this is if you have multiple schools in the same BOCES, and we're all working on it, we can run the PD through BOCES and save ourselves some money. Questions?
Our property tax report card, which needs to be submitted annually, has been submitted. It is due on April 29th. It was submitted on April the 11th. The property tax report card requires us to report on tax levy changes from year to year, or proposed or projected, I should say, because it's obviously not finalized for most schools by then. For us, it's part of our budget adoption. It also requires us to report on our capital exclusions, which would include our debt service, capital outlay, BOCES rent and capital, our building aid, and our capital outlay aid. Additionally, we do need to report within that on all of our reserves, our balances, which are both pulled out of our audit for last year's exact numbers and out of our financial management system for this year's numbers. You guys do get the reserves presentation typically in the May meetings. And finally, we do have to report within the property tax report card our fund balance numbers that were reported again on last year's audit. Any questions on the property tax report card? Okay. Second thing is the fuel bid. So annually we do a co-op bid with DCMO BOCES for the fuel bid. For the second year in a row, I'm happy to say the rates are going down, if approved. This is item number 16A in your packets. I did include this current year's rates and next year's rates just so you can see the comparison. But these are the lots that I work very closely with Ted because he is the diesel fuel expert on what we need, how much we need, etc. Over at the first student yard there. Additionally, within this, we did consider the fact that our generators here on this campus and at the Athens campus also use diesel fuel and additives during the winter months, so we can utilize this fuel bid to fill that as well, saving us money on a single diesel delivery charge to those. Any questions on the fuel bid? Okay. Only other thing I had for you guys that's not an agenda item is just health and welfare services. There are two in your packet tonight. April Park for 2 students attending the Robert C. Parker School, and separately a Taconic Hills for the Hawthorne Valley School, and third the East Greenbush health and welfare services for students attending Woodland Hill Montessori School. And then I did also just want to give a quick shout out to Mike Petramali. I just wanted to say publicly thank you for your service to the district as both a board member and as an assistant director of facilities / quality assurance coordinator. And it's been a pleasure working with him, and see what's next. Thank you.